Hebrews 10 verse 25. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more, as ye see the day approaching. As mentioned before, I have witnessed and taught Aiden's generation. Their experience of God's presence is very different from my past experience. But I could still discern and guide them through the presence of God. Every age is a test, not more than 40 years ago, but more than 40 years later. Yet the response to faith and the rules of the game remain the same. It's all about building your heart and character. In this day and age, to find a way out, you can't just copy the experience of the previous generation. Our generation has to fix itself, and find your own way into the temple. Because God gives birth to souls in every age, specific processes and requirements have already been set, so, only those who meet the requirements. This generation is very different from previous generations. It used to take hundreds of years to restore a truth. But in our generation, in just 40 years since the church was founded, or at least in my 40-plus years of faith, dozens or even hundreds of truths have been restored, which is a great leap forward. It can be seen that this is an era of, to whom much is given, much is required. Why do I say that? Because we have to understand one thing. With the addition of computers, the internet, and many related systems, how easy faith has become. If we remain at the simple requirement of restoring the doctrine of the Lutherans, for example, the sudden return of a tear clothes revelation is too trivial. Indeed, the Bible has many of these unique teachings. Now, you can download all the relevant materials with a key press. Perhaps, you think, that's how you go to heaven. To Martin Luther's level, all I have to do is buy some bad clothes and rip them up. We can learn from each other. Do you think this is enough to meet God's requirements in this day and age? In the past, every truth that God restored occupied a person's life, which was a lifetime long. With all the tools of the modern age, if only a fragment of truth or a verse were restored, isn't it too easy? Now, you can tap your phone and have Siri read you the Bible every night while you sleep. If God really saved the good wine for now, this generation, then, is not just about restoring a truth. If you come into contact with God, you can restore the whole mystery of faith and all the glory of God. At least the Church of Zion proves that. Because we have a lot of help that the previous generation lacked, so we can do what they can't. Just imagine, in Martin Luther's day, it can take months to write a letter and send it to a friend, so, if you want to spread the truth, how slow it is and whether it will succeed is hard to predict. But in modern times, information travels in seconds or even faster. Getting something done used to be difficult, but now it's effortless. You see all those YouTubers and influencers, they can instantly deliver information to millions, even tens of millions of people. Its production's content is far more complex than the revelation of tearing clothes. Since our generation can do so much more, then, to whom God gives much, he asks much. However, few have sought divine revelation. In modern times, revelation's complexity and comprehensiveness are even more astonishing. I once shared, the restoration of truth in every age must meet the needs of the time, and overwhelmed by the age, that is, the receiving and revelation that refreshes one's awareness of God's greatness. We have said in the past that Britain can avoid repeating the mistakes of the French Revolution. The tragedy of the beheading of the French emperor's family, it's all due to John Wesley and the revival of Methodism, so, it could be argued that Britain owes him a debt. Without this revival, Britain is doomed to decline. Therefore, God's actions in every age can convince and shock people, even changing the state, situation, and politics. As I said, there was no strong teaching in France to bring about a revival, that led to the emperor being beheaded. But if you take what John Wesley taught and transfer it to the modern day, it's not going to be useful or persuasive. Modern man has a lifetime of teaching at the touch of a button. It is even easier to find fault with his theology. Because people in this era belong to the post-Gene Young era. We can't use the same old drama to earn the audience's votes anymore. We live in this time. When the world hears about the existence of Zion's people, they will be impressed. The truth is restored in every age, as it should be. In the days of Moses, Egyptian magicians like David Copperfield, they can only deceive people by hiding their eyes, but Moses really was able to part the Red Sea. Again, with a green screen, David Copperfield can also pretend to fly over the Grand Canyon to trick viewers of TVB. But what Moses did was proper. He led 6 million Israelites across the Red Sea. In other words, remember, the restoration of truth in each era shocks the contemporary era. It's totally beyond people's imagination, and it makes people flock. So, in this day and age, can we, in a more comprehensive way, for history, archaeology, politics, finance, UFO, mythology and other fields, destroy all the old ideas at once? How crazy! But God's revival can always be done. Hebrews 10 verse 25. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more, as ye see the day approaching.
因為喺呢個世界當中多咗電腦網絡，多咗好多呢一啲嘅系統之後咧，信仰係幾易。你諗下，以前每一個時代神復還一個真理都係 occupy 晒佢一生嘅。如果神將好酒留到而今嘅話，其實我哋呢一代咧唔係復還一個真理咁簡單，係復還晒差唔多成個大謎題，復還神嘅全個榮耀。起碼石安就證明咗呢樣嘢啦。
A tool of this age breaks through the limits we've long faced, connecting us, revealing new ways to see the truths that now amaze. The future dawns, no longer bound by what was once the common ground. The veil is lifted, eyes now see the wonders of eternity.
每一個時代嘅復還都一定能夠針對嗰個時代嘅需要，同埋能夠 overwhelm 嗰個時代嘅，即係嗰個領受啟示，令佢哋耳目一新神嘅偉大嘅，能夠說服、震撼成個時代，甚至個國勢、局勢、政治因為咁改變。
Let God's light shine, break through the night, illuminate the path to His mind. No more constraints, no